All right, so in this tutorial, we're going to continue our discussion about style. And really, if you're going to talk about style, you have to talk, at least go over briefly what Flexbox is and how it works with your styling. Because at some point, if you don't learn about Flexbox, you're going to get very frustrated trying to implement your styling. But this simple overview, like I'm going to give you here, is probably enough to get you up and running and be able to produce some nice layouts just by knowing a few parts of how Flexbox works. So as it says here, Flexbox is being used by default by every view, whether you code for it or not. There's 4 terms that we're going to look at that I think is, if you know those 4 terms, it's enough to get you up and running. One is, and we'll go over these, but flexDirection, alignItems, justifyContent, as well as flex itself. So let's take a look. So yeah, when you're doing your math with your Flexbox, everything adds up, and then if you have a flex of 1 and a flex of 2, 1 is going to take up half the space on the screen as your flex 2 does. This is kind of a good visual to look at. We got the red element here is a flex 1, the orange is flex 2, and the green is flex 3. So that all adds up to 6, and so in reality, red is actually taking up 1/6 of the screen, 2/3 and 1/2, right? So hopefully that makes sense, and it's pretty straightforward. And you notice that by default, it's working by rows, right? Going vertically. And I'll show you how you can change that if you wanted to. So just a couple notes. You can give sizes in pixels to your Flexboxes, but it's not necessary. If you don't specify, the layout will autofill the content of the view. And if the parent has a view, the children will take the height. We'll just fill the height of that view. Let's see here. So, all right, flexDirection. Like I said, by default, this is your default. You are going in what's called column direction. But you can specify and override that. If you don't have this in your style, it will just default to going down 1 column there. But you could make it row, and then when you specify, like this is 1, 1, 1, that's going to give you in the row direction instead of a column direction. And then you could do row reverse as well. If I did row reverse, this would look the same, but it would be aligned on this side. It would be coming from the right to the left. All right, so that's flexDirection. justifyContent is very useful as well. There's a few different values you can give to this. The critical ones are center. You see that would look like in here. Now, if you wanted to center this on, in the page on the row, I'll show you how to do that later. But right now, when we're talking about justifyContent, it's on the vertical axis, right? And so space between, that's right here. It'll start at the top, and then if you have another one, so it's going to stretch to fill out the screen, and then put the space between. In here, space around kind of evenly distributes everything around the page. Again, we're only talking, when we do this, we're only talking on the vertical there, on that column, okay? So you do have alignItems on. That's where you could fix it on the horizontal axis. If you center this, then it would be pushed over to the center. You can also do this stretch here that kind of makes sure it takes up the whole space on the horizontal axis. So let's show you a live example, kind of try to drive home. So this is what we had at the end of the last tutorial. The only thing I changed is I changed the name of this style to be container. It's kind of traditional that the holder, the super container, the super view will have a style called container, and then everything else goes inside that. And so I'm gonna just copy and paste some code so that I can demonstrate this. So I'm gonna get rid of our hello world text here. I'm gonna put 3 views inside this parent view. So there we go. And let me just kind of separate them so you can see that I have this view here that has the word red inside of it, this one that has the word yellow, and this one that has the word blue. And we're going to make sure those colors show up. So right now it's calling styles that don't exist yet. So I need to add my styles, and I'll do that right now. I'm going to copy that, and I will share all this code with you if you want to play around with it yourself. All right, so let's look at what I did here. Is I created 3 styles, and they each have a flex of 1, so they're kind of taken up equally here, the space, and I gave them background colors. I did add a text align to the red one, so you see I could center it that way as opposed to using the justify content. So either one can work. And well, that's actually, I'm sorry, that's centering the text that's inside of it, not the actual view itself. And so I didn't give a height or a width, so it actually kind of fills up the width of the screen here. And you notice there's a padding of 10 to the container, and that's what's kind of around our size here. So I could, though, and notice I didn't give a flex to this. So it's only taking up the space that it needs to take. So it's allowing us to put in our text in here, and then it's putting in our 10 pixels of padding around it. So if I put in a flex, though, of 1, it's going to take up the whole screen. You see what I mean? Comma. Yep, so now it goes down. It's taking up the whole emulator screen there. So that's pretty cool. Anything else I want to show you here? So I could play around with this and have maybe, like in the example I showed you, we'll do 2, 3, and see how that automatically kind of pushes them around. And so let me see, I'll take this to 1. Should take away a lot of that. Yeah, so now it's pretty close to the sides there. So this is a good kind of demonstration of how Flex layout works. And I could put in all kinds of things. I recommend you experiment with this to see that you can get a layout that works for you. Thanks.